What's up, everybody? I'm Randy with R&R Woodworking. Today, I'm going to show you how to start a woodworking business for under $1,000. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to show you how to pay for it. Let's get to it. First and foremost, PPEs, personal protection equipment. You've got to be safe when you start woodworking. You got to be safe when you do anything that's around something dangerous. So first of all, we're going to talk about glasses. You need to have some sort of a safety glass. You've got flying debris, you've got dust, you've got all kinds of things that could tear your eyes up, get in your eyes or anything like that. These right here are pretty cheap set of DeWalt's. I like them because they're anti-fog. They're very soft. They have a membrane on them. These things aren't too bad. And they're not too bad on the money either. They're $12 for a set of these. 12 bucks. I mean, come on. I can promise you, you don't want to lose an eye over $12. The next thing up is respiratory. You've got dust floating around, fine particles. You go out and look. Some people say the fine particles are going to kill you. Some people say they're not. Either way, it's not good for you. Just get you some sort of mask. It don't have to be one of these. This is a Harbor Freight, I think a Gerson, what you call it. This is the RZ mask. They're very good. You can just get you a 3M, something that's got some sort of a HEPA-like filtration system that will get out those small particles that get in your lung. You don't want to do something stupid. Just put something on your face, cover your nose. You got a lot of fine dust that's floating around that you can't see, because when you start cutting, you don't see anything in there, come back. It's going to be on top of everything. The next thing up is going to be hearing protection. There's all types out there. You've got standard insert plugs, you've got the little work tunes, you've got all kinds of things that you can put in your ear. I can promise you AirPods probably will not cut them out. You need something that's going to have some high decibel cut. These right here are the 3M work tunes. They're not bad, they're about 50 bucks. I have all this stuff linked in the bottom that you can look at and buy, all that good stuff. These are here Bluetooth, they have music in them. You don't have to start with these. You can start with some normal earplugs, phone plugs, shooting plugs. You can get all that stuff for 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 bucks, something like that. It does not take much to protect your hearing. Protect your hearing. I can promise you, you don't want to be saying huh and what to all your grandchildren when you get older. So use your PPEs. The next thing every woodworker needs is a tape measure, ruler, something to measure your product. I've got two of them here. They're very cheap. This is a DeWalt Atomic. I think I paid, I don't know, something like 12, 15 bucks for this. This right here is a fast cap. I think you can catch them on sale for about $6.99 a piece, sometime a 2-pack for 12 bucks. They're very good. Any tape measure will work. It doesn't matter. The key to a tape measure is, if you're going to start with one tape measure, finish with one tape measure. Yes, they're both tape measures. They both measure. They do everything like that. But you want to use the same tape measure, because if you're off just a fraction, if this tape measure not as quite as this one, or y'all seen it on the ends move around, you don't want a whole lot of tolerance between the two. So just get you a tape measure, start a project, finish it with the same tape measure. If you do the same thing, use this one. Start another project, use this one all the way through. It doesn't matter as long as you finish with the same tape measure, so you get the same cut every time on the same tape measure. So get you a tape measure. They're very cheap, easy to get to. Get one. Next thing I think you need in your shop is you need a drill and a driver. You've got to have one of these. These things, they're fantastic. And the key thing to these are, they are time savers. Sure, you can do this with a screwdriver. You can do things like that. But are you here to make money, or are you here to take time? If you get you a drill driver, and these, they're inexpensive now. I mean, we're coming up on Black Friday. There's some deals. Matter of fact, I went to Home Depot today and I picked up this new DeWalt Atomic series. I am not a construction worker. I'm not going out every day and using these things for 8 or 9 hours. This kit right here will do everything I need it to do. And it's compact, it's small, it's light. I paid $149 for this, 2 batteries and a bag. This set right here that I'm holding up, I've had this set right here for 4 or 5 years, and I have worked the snot out of them all the time, screwing, everything. I mean, nut drivers, I'm using them for, I've got the adapter so I can take off nut heads, bolts, stuff like that. So this is the impact driver. I use this right here to cut 6.5-inch cornhole board holes with a hole saw. I've cut a bunch of them, and it still holds up. Now the batteries, these are 2 amp. I've got some 4 amps and 6 amps over there. But get you a set of drill and driver. I promise you, you will not regret it. You'll use this thing more than you possibly can imagine. They're cheap, they're inexpensive. I told you the Atomic set from DeWalt's $149 at Home Depot today. The rigid set is $139. It's a brushless motor as well. They have a lifetime service agreement on the batteries and the drill and the driver. That's pretty good if you're getting into it and you plan on staying into it for a while. You can go to a Milwaukee set and get the 18 volt. I think it's the M18. They're at $199 at Home Depot today for the drill driver and 2 batteries. So they're not too expensive. And I'm going to add all this up at the end so you'll know where we're at. But get you a drill and driver set. It'll save you so much time. And in this business, time is money. If you can shorten the project time, you can make more money on the project. Now we move over to the larger toys. This right here is a Skil 10-inch dual bevel compound miter saw. Sliding at that, look at that right there. This is a great saw. I'm not gonna call it an economy. I'm not gonna call it an entry level. I'm not gonna call it a beginner. This is just a good saw. It really, really is. Some of the features on this saw, it's got positive stops at all your normal angles. You can throw it over to a 45, 22.5 zeros. You know, it goes up to 52 on one side, 52 on the other. It's a great saw for that. So you can really get dialed in, tighten it down, and it will not move. You wanna cut a 90, it's gonna cut a 90. You wanna cut a 22.5, it's gonna cut a 22.5. Never had any issues with that whatsoever. It's got expandable wings that you can let in and out on the back side of it if you need a little bit more stationary on the fence on the back. The blade is so-so that comes on it. It's good enough. It's good enough to get you through. You don't have to go buy another blade. I'm telling you this because I'm trying to get you started less than $1,000. You don't have to buy another blade. It's great. It works. It's what it does. I upgraded to a Diablo 4, 5, 6 months ago just simply because I didn't want the tear outs that was getting on the factory blade. The zero clearance plate right here that I made, it's out of wood. It's not nothing I bought, but the one that comes on, it's got a little bit wide gap on it and it does have some tear out, but you can look at zero clearance tape and all that stuff, and it's very, very, very inexpensive to do things like that. I just had a piece of scrap black walnut, run through the planer, stuck it in here, cut a hole in it, and got a zero clearance plate. One of the best features on this thing, I know it's little, I know it's not that big a deal, but it is when you use it. It does not have a laser line. There's no laser line on this thing. This thing has a shadow line. And if you haven't used a shadow line, I can't explain to you how much you will hate a laser once you use a shadow line. It's just a LED line, LED light above the blade, casts a shadow on the product, tells you exactly where you're gonna cut. Time saver. I mean, you can roll through it. You know exactly where you're gonna cut every single time. That's why I really like that thing. And I hadn't turned it off. It's been in this shop for 12 months now, almost right at 12 months. And I've never turned it off. It's runs 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. The light has never been turned off on this because when I open the door of the shop, it's dark in here, but the LED light lights up this shield, and I think it looks kind of cool when I walk in. At the time of this recording, this saw on Amazon right now is $229. I paid $300 on this saw and would buy it again at $300. It's that good of a saw. I'd probably pay $350 for it because I've had zero issues. It's 10-inch. I don't need a 12-inch. This thing right here does everything I want it to do, and it does it at a fraction of the cost of some of the other bigger name saws. I can't tell you how much this saw is worth. It is amazing. Go out and buy one. Next item is another one of the big toys. And I can't tell you how much a table saw is used in a small wood shop or any size wood shop. But these things are used a whole lot and they will make your life a lot easier. What we have here is a Skil 15 amp, 10-inch job site saw. This thing is amazing. I have never bogged it down. It's unplugged. Reading, I'm touching the, no power. I've never bogged this thing down. When I leave the miter saw, I go straight to the table saw, and we have ran maple and black walnut through this thing. I don't know how much we ran through it. I mean, we probably 500, 600 board foot, and not along by the time. This thing here has always worked. It's always done what we want to do. And one of the greatest features on this thing right here, first of all, is the rack and pinion fence. This thing has a locking mechanism right here. You can unlock it. You can move this rack, and it's square. It comes right out of the box, dead square. Running in and out. Once you get it where you want it, lock it down. It don't go anywhere. I don't know why every single saw does not have this on there. It's such a great feature, especially for something this small, something this portable. As you can see, it's not that heavy. It's 51 pounds, but it is a workhorse. And another cool thing about this thing is it comes with legs. All you have to do is just fold them out. A little red button right here. You lock it, fold your legs out. They stay on there. So if you want to take it out of a table, right now I've got mine mounted in a work table over there, but you can bring this thing out, open the legs up, put it out in the yard, cut all you want to cut, and not have to worry about sawdust. Throw it out in the yard, throw it out in the driveway, sweep it off, whatever you want to do. But this thing right here is a very, very good saw. And it's very, very inexpensive. So you can get into a table saw pretty cheap with this thing right here and do everything you want it to do. As you can see there, it's got a 3.5-inch cut. It'll cut up. It'll cut up to, I think, to 23.5 this way. Of course, it'll cut whatever you want to on the other side, running out. You can unlock it right here. It'll cut on bevels. Once again, the blade that come on it, it's okay. Just like the miter saw, it's okay. It's a ripping blade. it will tear up some stuff, but it'll cut it. So I swapped it out to another Diablo, put a 40 tooth on here. Something else that's cool about this thing right here also is the measurements. I mean, you can, when you dial it in, it's got the measurements across it. It's got a 2-place fence. You can take this fence off if you want to move it over. Put another one on there, just that easy, lock it down. And the measurements skip over. It has a silver and it has a black measurement. It depends on what knob you're on at that time. And lock it back down, and then you're good to go again. It holds a standard T-track, a fit in here. Comes with a push stick. I did get into the blade the other night, and that thing exploded on me. So it's a plastic push stick, guys. Get you a wooden one and go buy one offline, something like that. Get away from that plastic, because it could have put my eye out. PPEs, like I said, keep your PPEs. It is a loud saw. It is not a quiet saw, but it's a table saw. It's going to be loud. It's not going to be quiet, things like that. But this right here is one of the other things that I think you need to get when you start in the woodworking business. It's a wonderful product. And at the time of this video, this thing right here is only $269. $269, you can get into a table saw that has legs on it and a rack and pinion fence. It's a no-brainer, no-brainer. Okay, the next thing on the list that every woodworker needs when they start is a sander. You need a sander. They're not that expensive, but everything you do is gonna need to be sanded. I mean, you can put out a product that's not sanded. It's going to be splintery. It's not going to look uniform. It's not going to look smooth. People's going to run their hands over it. You're not going to sell a lot of product if that's what you're wanting to do. Or if you want to put it in your house, you want something to look nice, get you a sander. This sander right here is a DeWalt. It's a DeWalt corded sander, 5-inch orbitable. This thing has got on and off. This one is not a variable speed. Probably need to get it, but the one that I'm gonna send you to in the link is a variable speed. Dust collection is good. I keep it hooked up to a dust collector, but I've also ran it off my shop vac as well. Just get you a good bag, because you're taking off a lot of small particles with this thing, and you don't want that floating around the air. But it's very, very good. It does not run hot. I've tried a lot of sanders. This is probably the best one that I've used as far as an inexpensive one to get into. It's very comfortable in the hand. There is vibration, but it is what it is. It's an Orbit sander, so it does have some vibration. But it's good. It is loud. That's why you wear ear protection. But other than that, it's all around. I've used it. My wife's used it. We have hammered this sander through wood. I don't know how many hours is on this sander. We make a lot of cutting boards, a lot of outdoor furniture, and a lot of farmhouse furniture. And everything has to be sanded with a 5-inch disc. So there is a lot of sanding that goes on with this sander right here. It's a great product. I can't say anything else about it. It's a sander. That's what it does. At the time of this video, this sander right here that is variable speed is $79. That's very, very inexpensive for something that you're probably going to use, I'd say 50% of the more time than anything else in your shop. You're going to use this the most. So I was told once, buy once, cry once. That applies to the sanders. You can go out and get a cheaper sander. You can go get you a $23 one from Harbor Freight or a $22 square sander from Home Depot whatsoever. You're not going to use it long. I did it. I've got one. I got a skill that it was not this. And so I bought twice and cried twice. So just go ahead and buy this right off the bat. The DeWalt's a great sander. Matt Outlaw of 731 Woodworks, he has a great video on this. It's a wonderful sander. Go get one. Now I'm going to show you how to clamp the things. That's right. We're going to talk about clamps. Hey, I've got all kinds of clamps. I don't use many of them. The one I always go back to is the old pipe clamp. It does everything I want it to do. I've got parallel clamps. I've got squeeze clamps. I've got all kind of clamps over there. But the one I pick up every single time, and the one I have multiple of, is the pipe clamp. This clamp right here is an Irwin. It's an Irwin 3 1/4. Why Irwin? There's Bessie's. There's all kind of clamps out there. I don't know. I bought the Irwin because I really, really like it. It's a 3 1/4. The handle is fantastic on it. It's very, I can put a lot of pressure on it. But one of the really cool things that I like about an Irwin clamp is I don't have to have threaded pipe. It clamps on both ends with these squeeze clamps. It don't screw in. It just goes into a cap. These things hold it. It's fantastic. I can cut pipe. I don't have to have somebody to thread this pipe. These clamps right here are amazing, amazing, amazing. You can't have enough of them. I think I've got 6, 8 pair. I don't know. I've got a lot of them because I use them all the time. I've tried other clamps. The way these set up, the way the feet are working on these right here, they're very stable clamps. It allows me to set them there and I don't have to worry about them going anywhere. Like I said, the clamping is pretty uniform for a pipe clamp. It's got a big face on both ends. Right now, Amazon's got these things on sale. They're not very expensive. They're normally $28 a set. Right now, these are on sale for $16.99 a set, just like this right here, $16.99 for this, just the clamp part. Pipe's very cheap. You can just go get you some conduit pipe, local hardware store. Cut it at any length you want. I'd recommend have about 3 or 4, probably about 4 4-foots. I'd recommend to have a couple 2-foots and maybe 6-foots. If you want to get them where you thread it on the end of it, then you just put some sleeves and screw them together, and you can have a clamp as long as you want to have it. Get you some pipe clamps. Don't fall into the Kool-Aid. I've done it. Hey, parallel clamps are great. I use them most of the time in conjunction with these pipe clamps. Once I'm clamping both ends of the cutting board, I put one across the middle just to clamp it down tight, but I can do that with another pipe clamp as well. Parallel clamps they've got their space in the shop, but for what I do and for beginner woodworking stuff like that, you can get away with a pipe clamp for a whole lot less money than you can a parallel clamp. Okay, now you're thinking to yourself, well, Randy, but what if I just don't want to make cutting boards all the time? What if I want to make something else like a cabinet or a desk or an end table or something like that right there? I need to get something to make some kind of joinery. Luckily, I got you covered right there too. Pocket hole is a good joinery. Now, is there stronger joinery out there? Absolutely. But as far as just making stuff, I have made a lot of things. I'm talking a lot of things with Kreg pocket holes and screws and glue. Never had anything come apart on me. I mean, I'm not dragging it behind a car down a highway, but it is a good way to joint wood together. So if you want to start making some cabinets, if you want to make some cabinets out of 3/4 inch plywood, stuff like that, pocket hole joinery is the way to go. If you want to make some farmhouse furniture, coffee tables, stuff like that, pocket holes are the way to go. It's a good joinery technique. Kreg makes this little set right here. It's a Kreg 320 is what it is. It comes in a little case. It comes with your Allen wrench. What's Allen wrench for, Randy? Allen wrench is so you can change out the collar to adjust the depth of this drill bit depending on the medium you're going into. This thing right here will adjust. You can use pocket holes down to a 1/2 inch all the way up to 1.5 inches. So that covers most everything you're going to be using. Luckily, Kreg has a kit that comes with a clamp and everything. You put it on there and you clamp it to your product. You drill the hole in it, put some glue on it, put some screws in it. You've got a good joinery right there. But all of this right here you can get for $40 right now. That's a cheap way to a real good joinery technique. Now that does not include your screws. You will have to go get the screws depending on what size board you're going in and if it's indoor and outdoor, things like that. But you can go to Lowe's, Home Depot, probably your local hardware store. There's going to be a Kreg display sitting there. Kreg makes everything. I think they even make car motors. I'm joking, they do not. But they make everything. Any kind of joinery technique or putting in drawers or whatever else, they make little jigs for that. Last but not least, everything I've told you what to buy and I've told you what to do with it all have one thing in common. It's going to create a lot of sawdust. We're in the woodworking business. You've got to take 2 boards and put them together, and sometimes that requires cutting them or drilling them, and that makes a lot of sawdust. So the next thing and the last thing on the list is a shop vac. Now there are tons of things out there that you can buy. You can buy dust extractors. You can buy whole shop dust collectors. You can buy these mass air movement machines, and they get pricey. Things get very high. I mean, you go out and look at a Festool dust extractor. I think that $1,100, $1,300, something like that, to remove dust. They're great. They're a great product, but do you really need that when you're trying to start a woodworking business for less than $1,000? You're gonna blow it all in an extractor? No. You can get a shop vac and do a lot of the same things. You can get a shop vac with a normal filter in it. You can buy a shop vac and then upgrade the filter. They have all types of debris filters that you can put inside of a shop vac, whether that be, I'm using shop vac as a name, but it's wet and dry vac. Whether that be a Craftsman, a shop vac brand, a Rigid, a DeWalt, whatever you want to buy, there are filters and bags that go in these things to limit those small particles from floating around there and getting in your lungs. At the time of this video, I was over at Home Depot the other day and I noticed that there's a Rigid, and it's a good Rigid. I wrote down the specs here. It's a Rigid. And that thing is a 16-gallon and it's 5 horsepower peak. That's a lot. It'll move a lot of air for you if that's what you want to do. And you don't have to have one for every machine. These things have wheels on them. Just roll them around and use them. You're not going to use your miter saw and your table saw at the exact same time. If you do, you need to make a video because we're going to watch it and you're going to make a lot of money doing that. So just get you a shop vac. You can hook it up, put a filter in it. It comes with a filter. It does not come with a bag. This one I'm telling you about right now, this is a Rigid 16-gallon, 5 horsepower. This thing is $119 regularly. I mean, Home Depot has it on sale right now for $59. That's a big discount, and that's a great shop vac for $59. They had a pile of them over there at Home Depot the other day when I was looking. I mean, it'll save you so much time. If you have a small space, you can vacuum it up. Hook it up to all your machines. You'll be surprised. I tried it for the first 2 months or something like that without using a shop vac, and it was unbearable. I couldn't keep up. I mean, you build one little chair, and you're knee deep in sawdust. It's crazy how fast that thing adds up. So get you a shop vac. Now for the grand total. And also the bonus, I'm gonna tell you how to pay for it. All of that comes up to just a little bit over $900 with all the things linked in the description. Plus tax brings you in less than $1,000. All of that stuff I just told you is less than $1,000. Now you're thinking, Randy, that's a lot of money still. That's $1,000. Yes, $1,000 is a lot of money. $100 is a lot of money. But if you're wanting to start a side business, or if you're wanting to start a side hustle in your garage, shop, shed, whatever it is, for $1,000, you can get all this stuff, and you can do a lot of wood products with this. There's not much else that you're going to need as far as to produce things. Now, you start building grandfather clocks, things like that, yeah, you're going to need a little bit more fine-tuned of tools and things like that. But this right here is what I use, and I have created a lot of products and have sold a lot of products. Now you're thinking, Randy, well, how do you pay for all of that? You told me at the end of this video, you're going to tell me how to pay for it. I am going to tell you how to pay for it. If you want to do cutting boards, if you have access to maple, or if you have access to black walnut, something other than red oak and white oak, it's just a little bit more porous, but get you some hard woods. If you have access to that, you can make some cutting boards with this. Cutting boards, depending on the area, anywhere from $75 to $150. That's good money. Now, if you figure there's probably about 2 board foot in an average cutting board, depending on the size, of course, the measurements and everything like that. And depending if your board foot's about $8 a board foot, you got $16 in that board. You sell that board for $125. You got a little over $100 of profit right there. You sell 10 of those, and you've paid for everything in this video. 10 cutting boards. I guarantee you got 10 family members that will buy something from you. If you don't do cutting boards, outdoor furniture. If you'll watch this video right here, I'll show you how them 2 chairs right there made me $100 an hour. Very simple, with 2x4s and a couple 1x6s. That's very easy to do. And you can sell 10 of those. That's just 5 sets, people. And all of this stuff is paid for. Guess what when it's paid for? Everything you make after that is profit. You don't have to pay for your tools. It's that easy, guys. Go out, get in your shop, buy some of these tools if you can, make something, sell it, make some money, but also it'll make you feel good that you've created something that somebody else wants. Thank you for watching this video. If you're still around, all 13 of you, I appreciate it. I give you a thumbs up. That's awesome. Man, I'd give you a big old hug if I could, just for hanging around and watching. But if you'd like to watch any of my other videos, click any of these on either side. They'll carry you to some, and maybe we can change the world together and just make it a better place. Hey, thanks for watching. God bless you. Till I see you next time.